Hey, what's up? This is Sarah Lee Day, and you're watching another episode of Dubsado Tidbits, the things you need to know about Dubsado delivered in bite-sized pieces. Over the last several episodes, we've been talking about the different template areas available in Dubsado, and today we're going to move on to payment schedules. So payment schedules are a way for you to set up different payment due dates on your invoices when you send them to clients or have them included in your proposals. You can set a single due date and have the whole thing due with payment reminders, or you can set multiple due dates and split up the invoice total across multiple dates and separate that according to how it makes sense for your business. The other great thing about payment schedules is you can set up reminder emails to go out before and or after the payment due date, just reminding your customers that the payment is due, how much is due on the payment date, or if they've missed a payment, that they have missed a payment, that it's past due, and what next steps need to happen at that point. So in order to set up your payment schedules, you would come here to payment schedules on the left under templates. And you can see here that we already have a sample payment schedule set up in our trial account. And just looking at this, we can see that there are two different payment dates for this payment schedule. One is 0 days after the invoice has been created. So basically, as soon as this invoice is created, this first payment is going to be due. The second payment is 14 days after the invoice has been created. So 2 weeks later, the rest of the balance will be due. If we come over here to this little baby gear icon, we can take a look at more of the details of these payments that are due and see how much is due and what kind of reminders are available on those. So this first payment you can see is only 20% of the remaining invoice, and then 14 days later is the remaining 80%. Now you can set that up to either a percentage amount or a fixed amount, just depending on your products or services, how you want to structure that. Reminders, since this one is due immediately as soon as the invoice is created, there are not any reminders on that. We could set a reminder for after the payment is due in case for some reason they don't pay that 20% up front. This one is not set up that way, so it doesn't have any reminders on that first payment. The second one does have reminders 2 days before the payment is due and then 2 days after the payment is due. Now this one that's after the payment is due will only send if the payment is not made. If the payment is made, this email will not send out, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's all just automated on the back end. You don't have to do anything extra or special to it. It'll automatically know whether that email needs to go out or not. If we wanted to add on to this payment schedule, we could add a new due date, clicking here. If we wanted to change any of the details of these payment dates, we have this other baby gear icon here, or we can delete them. And then of course you always want to save your changes. Let's actually go back out and create our own new payment schedule. You'll do that right up here, add payment schedule. You want to give it a name. Let's say that this payment schedule will be 4 installment payments. So we'll do 4 payments. And you can name it whatever you want. This name will not be client facing, so it doesn't matter what it's called. They're never going to see it. Okay, so we're going to start with adding a new due date. And your due date can be relative to something or a fixed date. A fixed date would just be anytime that this payment schedule is applied, the due date will always be a specific date. So maybe it's January 1st, or maybe if it's like a yearly contract or yearly invoice, or maybe it's just one specific date that is fixed versus a relative date, which you can set to be any number of days, weeks, or months before the job starts, after the job finishes, after the payment schedule is applied to the invoice, or after the contract is signed. So these are your options as far as the relative due date. Let's just say that for this first payment, we're going to say 0 days after the contract is signed. So as soon as they sign the contract, they're going to have a payment due. Then down here you have amount, either fixed or percentage. Fixed would be if you have a very fixed service cost or product cost, and you know exactly how much you want to be due for this payment. So maybe you have a deposit that you require. So let's just say it's a $100 deposit. Then regardless of how much the invoice total is, the amount that's due for this payment will always be just $100. So let's go ahead and set that up. The other way would be a percentage. So if you wanted the first 20% or 25% or whatever, maybe you do half and half, 50% deposit and then a 50% balance at the end. It's up to you and your business what you set this up as. But for now, we're going to do a $100, we're just going to call it a deposit for this first payment. Then down here, if you want to add the reminders, you're going to click Add Reminder. And again, you have relative or fixed send date. So when do you want this email reminder to go out to your clients, to your customers? Is it relative to the job date, start and end date, or to the payment due date, before or after the payment due date? Or is it a fixed date? Again, this is going to be more for if you have a very set timing on a project, or a very specific date that you want it to be due on, then you would use that as fixed. This one we're going to do relative. So since this is going to be 0 days after the contract is signed, it's going to be really hard to set this up as anything before the due date. It could be relative to the job though. If we're sending this out to the customer before the job starts, then we could use this, or it could be after the job, just depending on if you have them prepay or post-pay. Let's just do after the due date 1 day. So when they're signing the contract, we want them to go ahead and pay a deposit as soon as they sign the contract. If they don't do that, then a day later they will get an email. This is a list of our canned emails. We've got the send proposal that we created in a previous episode, and we have these 2 example payment reminder emails that we could use. Since this is going to be after the due date, I'm going to use this past due email. Now, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and create a new template in here for this payment reminder if I didn't already have it in my canned emails. And with this button here, I could save that to my canned emails. So you can go ahead and create your emails on the fly as you're setting up your payment schedule if you wanted to. Otherwise, you would just use one of your canned emails. Then if we wanted to add additional reminders, we would just do the same steps. Click that to add a reminder. If you don't want that reminder or you accidentally clicked it, you can click the trash can to delete it. Let's go ahead and apply this. So now we can see our first payment is $100 due 0 days after the contract is signed, and a reminder will go out 1 day after the payment is due if that payment is not made. Let's go ahead and set up our second payment. We're going to say relative to before the job. So we want another payment 1 week before the job starts. And this is just, again, it's going to depend on your products, your services, your business structure, and how you set your payment schedules up. But for this example, let's just say 1 week before the job starts. And we want a 30% balance of the invoice to be paid at this before we start the job. Then we would do a percentage of 30 here, add a reminder. So our send date, we want to remind them before the actual due date that they have a payment coming up. So I'm going to say before the due date, and I want this to go out, we'll say 3 days before the due date. We'll give them enough time to remember the due date and get their funds together. They can go ahead and pay this at any time, and it will prevent these emails from going out if they pay it ahead of time. Select our template. We're just going to do a regular payment reminder, and let's go ahead and add a second reminder that is relative after the due date, and same thing, we'll do 1 day and past due, and apply. All right, so you can see how payments are getting set up here and applying. The second one, the due date is 1 week before the event or the job date, the job start date. The amount due is 30% of the remaining invoice. So just keep that in mind, that this is of the remaining invoice balance, not of the total invoice if you had something like this. And then reminders, we've got 3 days before payment is due and 1 day after payment is due that we're going to send those email reminders. All right. I know we said this is going to be 4 payments, but I'm just going to leave it as 2 for now and save the changes. And now you can see that it's available here. And as you set up new invoices or proposals, you'll be able to select this as the payment schedule for that invoice and use that moving forward with your templates. All right, and that's it for today's tidbit. For more information about receiving updates, requesting future episodes, or getting help with your own Dubsado account, take a look at the links in the description below this video or visit saraleiday.com. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.